The fourth principle of successful figure creation is remembering to write clear and concise and appropriate captions. Remember that your overall purpose in your piece is to convince the audience of the validity and accuracy of your results. And captions are important in doing so because they guide the readers through your figures. So it's a very important um, aspect of figure creation of clear and accurate captions. Next, do not unintentionally mislead your reader and your viewer of your figures. Here's what I mean by this. When you create your results section, you select which parts of your results are the most important and the most noteworthy and deserve to be shared with your readers. Make sure that your figures reflect the same results in the same way. Do not have any inconsistencies between the verbal portions of your results section and the visual portion of the results section, that is the figures. Do not include anything that might mislead the reader and misunderstand and misinterpret either the figures or the verbal portions differently and think that the verbal portions of the results mean one thing and the figures mean another somehow. So double check on that really carefully. Okay. Finally, lastly, if you're using a software to create your figures, which most of you I would suspect will be doing that, make sure that you do not just always go with the default settings. So for example, if you're using PowerPoint to create a figure, if you're using Excel for example, it's okay to go with the default, but only as long as the default settings serve your needs. If you need different size font, different color, different any other kind of setting, set those settings manually by hand before beginning to create the figure. And of course, don't abuse the color or don't abuse the fancy fonts and so on. So overall, concluding the portion of this video about figures, remember that figures are rhetorical devices. They're not just illustrations to your data. They are elements of the persuasion that you're trying to carry out in your paper and in the results section in general. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about the verbal portion of the results section. So the again, the purpose of the piece, the purpose of your work on this piece, and the purpose of the results section is of course persuasion and clear, effective communication of your results. And again, so that's what the results section has to have. Nothing else, nothing less, nothing more. Simply reporting of the most important results of your experiment, of your study, as they pertain to your research questions, to your hypothesis, and so on. So be selective. Select what's important, select what's pertinent, and then describe, report them as clearly as possible, as concisely as possible, and be sure to include all pertinent results. Some of these results may not be as pertinent as others. So again, you have to be selective. You have to decide what you want to include, what you want to exclude, connected with your research question and your hypothesis. Okay. Now, let's talk about discussions. The discussion section, sometimes in some journals, it is kind of attached to the results section, while in other cases, in other journals, it is a separate section. Regardless of the formatting that you will have to follow, the discussion, as its name implies, its purpose is to discuss, interpret the results for the readers. So this is where you actually do the most persuasive work of your piece. This is where you interpret the results for your reader and explain to your reader how those results help you solve your research question, help you either to confirm your hypothesis, complicate it, disconfirm, and so on, whatever it is. So this is a section where you lead your reader by the hand, as it were, and put signposts, so to speak, throughout the text, explaining to them what they're reading and why what they're reading is important, and what the study has accomplished or addressed the research question that you had posed in the beginning. So, again, to recap, there should be a clear and direct and distinct break between the results and the discussion section, in the sense that the results section reports your results through words and images, figures, and the discussion section discusses, interprets them, explains their significance, and explains to the reader, in some cases, how these results are applicable, for example, to other projects and so on. So again, keep that distinction in mind. Report your results, and then explain them, discuss them, persuade the readers using those results. That's the difference. I think I have told you all the main elements that have to go into this process. So I hope you can use these ideas in the creation of your results in discussion section, and I look forward to seeing and responding to those sections when they're created. And of course, we'll work much more with them as we do the peer review and as we respond to those drafts. I will see you face to face next time, and have a great week. Happy writing. Bye-bye.